And one day I remember it was whenever Ronda Rousey was the headliner for the very first time. It was the first female headliner for the UFC. And my mom turned and looked at me and she said, all my kids, you could do that. Oh, shit. When I think about it, it sounds really bad. I did my first line of coke when I was like 15.
Welcome back, everybody, to another episode of the Garbage to Gold podcast. Today, I've got Dakota Zimmerman. Before we get started, make sure to subscribe if you haven't already. We've got a lot of good stuff coming. You don't want to miss out on any of that. So, without further ado, I'm going to have a conversation here with Dakota. She is a purple belt in Jiu-Jitsu, training under Kirk Huff. If you haven't watched the Kirk Huff interview I did a few weeks ago, make sure to go back and check that out. So, first question, how long have you been training?
I'd say since I've started all the way until now, the total amount of time has been about 9 to 10 years. My first few years, I started at the War Room over in Wood River, Illinois. That's where I'm from, is the Bethalto area. And I really just started with MMA. I wasn't doing jiu-jitsu seriously. And I'm very thankful for, walking into that gym and starting there. Actually, before that, I trained just a very short time it doesn't even exist anymore. It was called Infinity. And
I feel like I've heard of that, though.
Yeah.
Where was that at? Was that also in Illinois?
Yes, it was. It was in Alton, and then it moved to Bethalto.
Okay.
And I'm having a mind blank right now, thinking of his name, but he told me to go out for wrestling, and I went out for the wrestling team my senior year.
So you were still in high school when this all started?
Yeah.
Okay.
And then I kind of fell off for a little bit. I was working and went to college, and then I dropped out and went back home. I lost my mom, and then I stopped training completely for a while, and then that's when I found Kirk's gym.
Sorry.
No, you're good.
So, and how old were you whenever you met Kirk?
I'd say...
And what year was that?
I have to do math.
Was it all still in St. Charles?
No, I met him at Arnold. So I moved in with an ex, and I lived in Hematite for a while.
Okay, so yeah, that's all like right same area.
Yeah, and I started going to Arnold BJJ for the free week trial. I wanted to get in shape before I was going to move to Florida.
What year is this?
At the end of 2017, so like December of 2017, and I was a white belt. And one of my first nights there during that week, Kirk told me, if you stick around, if you listen to everything I tell you to do, you'll be a white belt world champion in 6 months. And I stuck around, and I was a world champion that summer.
Damn, that's impressive. Okay, even at white belt, winning a world championship is tough. So, like, how old were you probably at that time?
I would say, it's 2025.
How old are you now?
I'm 28. I'll be 29 next month.
Nice.
So I was still relatively young. I was like 22.
Yeah. So, like, training that young and winning a world championship, like, what was that like? Did it motivate you, or were you kind of like, well, I've reached the pinnacle of it, now I'm kind of over it?
Oh, no, it didn't stop at that. It motivated me at that time. I was still grieving my mom, and I kind of either go all in with things, like I'm full send,
Right.
And,
so your mom had passed away before you
in 2016.
Okay.
Yep.
So that may have probably kind of fired you up, like, I need to do this.
Yeah, so I was super depressed for a while, not doing anything really, just kind of a bump on a log, trying to get through it. And then I found Kirk's gym, and that kind of set the fire.
How did you find Kirk's gym? Did somebody like say, hey,
my
go
ex,
to?
actually.
Oh, okay.
He trained, or he is a Vagi black belt too. So
okay.
And he actually told me that, Kirk's it's a great place, good gym to go train at, go try it.
Cool.
So I did. But yeah, and then like I said, I'm either all in or all out, and I kind of became addicted to jiu-jitsu for a long time.
Yeah, every time, because like this is the most time recently that I've spent here, and probably the most time that I've trained consistently. But every time that I've come down here, periodically, like you're always here. So,
Trying.
and like, is it weird training jiu-jitsu as a girl? Because it's heavily male dominant. Is like, how did you kind of navigate that?
So at first, I guess I've never really. Can I cuss?
Yeah.
Okay, I've never really given a fuck. Like
Right.
I was always like the only girl in the room when I first started. I just kind of became used to it, and I have a brother that wrestled. I was just
okay.
around the wrestling lifestyle my whole life, and I don't know. My mom didn't raise no bitch, so I never really
Right.
cared.
So with fighting, was that part of like your childhood? Did you fight like as a kid? It's less
No,
common for a girl to fight as a child, but it happens.
No, I actually, so my parents were kind of rough and rowdy, you know, getting into fights and going out and stuff. And the 80s was a different time. That's kind of how you figured your shit out, right? And but I had never been in a fight until I did my very first amateur MMA fight.
Oh,
I mean, I
wow.
had sparred and stuff, but I had never nobody had fully hit me with everything behind it, like really trying to knock me out until I stepped into the cage, my very first amateur fight.
When was that?
It was before I started training at Arnold. And it was before my mom died.
So probably
I'd say
like 14,
2015. 15, yeah, because I graduated high school in 14, and it was after I graduated, so it was 2015.
Okay. And so were you into MMA already? Like growing up as a kid, were you watching the UFC, or was it just like you graduated and you're like, hey, maybe I'll try a fight?
Yeah, so my mom actually is the one who kind of pushed me to try it.
Oh, really?
Yeah, so my mom loved to watch UFC. She loved all of it, and she would pick fights with people so she could see my dad, you know, get into a fight. It did it for her, I guess. And
Right.
and she one day, I remember it was whenever Ronda Rousey was the headliner for the very first time. It was
yeah.
the first female headliner for the UFC, and my mom turned and looked at me and she said, "You,
Right.
out of all my kids, she has 5. Out of all my kids, you could do that." And I had always ran. I ran track, cross country. I played volleyball, but my main thing was running.
Right.
So I'd always, you know, had to have a pretty tough mindset when it came to that, because I ran long distance and sprints and like 400, 800. And I was on a jog one day and I passed Infinity and they were rolling. And I remember I walked in. Anthony Springman was who answered the door. He's been in the sport for a very long time. He answered and I said, "Hey, can girls do this?" He was like, "Yeah, we have class tomorrow at 5." And that was my first class.
Yeah, I remember calling around to some gyms about the same time. I started training like heavily at Voggy's in 2015, and I would call like certain gyms, and I was like, which one do I want to go to? And I had always heard that like Voggy's was the hard place to go because like they had world champions, and like that's where people beat you up. And I was like, well, might as well try it.
Yeah.
And now that I've trained here, I'm so glad that I picked Voggy, because like I prefer the hard training, like last night's training.
It was a tough class
But
last
it was
night.
fucking awesome.
It
It was awesome. And I'm like, I need more of that, because like just coming to the gym, sitting down, working like one technique, and you know, drilling it 5 or 6 times, and then people are just kind of sitting around talking.
It's a waste of time.
I'm like, fuck. And
Yeah.
that's why I like coming to Kirk so much, is because you don't really get any of that. You know,
No.
there's some nights where it might be like that, but not very often. Most of the time it's
Yeah, exactly. And, you know, we have a time and a place for that type of atmosphere. It's after the hard work's over. You know,
Right.
after we've earned that time on the mat to sit and shoot the shit for a while. And I think a lot of gyms they don't hone in on that hour, 2 hours, or whatever it is that people are paying to be here. We all agreed to be here at said time. So why not make the most out of it? Then if you want to stay an hour afterwards and talk
Yeah.
and hang out, that's cool, great, awesome. Like I do it. I was here till probably almost 10 last night, just hanging out, talking. After the work was done, though.
right. No, it makes sense. And like that's what it was always like for me. And I went to some of the other gyms. You know, I've been to a bunch of gyms.
Yeah, me too.
And, I got friends there, not taking anything away from them, but it's like the training's just different,
It
you
is.
know? And there's been some times where, even at Voggy's, you get to like kind of a slower class and, people want to just chill and talk. And I'm like, hey, I drove an hour to be here and I got an hour drive home. Like, I'm going to do my drills.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, but I didn't mean to get too off track there. What was your first, you said your first fight was an MMA fight. So for people who have never walked into a cage, what was that experience like?
I'm pretty weird and I don't get super nervous right before, but I'm a slow starter too.
Right.
So like, I think what happens is all my nerves hit me right whenever the cage closes, which isn't good.
No.
I should probably get a little nervous before and kind of get that out of my
Yeah.
system, but I don't. I'm just like awkwardly not nervous at all right before until that door closes. Then it all is real, right?
Yeah, now it's like, oh.
No, it's about to happen. And so I can't even say I was like super scared. I really liked the gym I was at for what it's worth of my time there. It was good for me in that time. They did a lot for me. Rest in peace, Brad Jones, actually the owner of that gym, just recently took his own life. And he was a great guy. Yeah, he was very, very awesome. I thank him from the bottom of my heart for letting me into his gym. He let me clean the gym to train there. I was just a broke teenager,
Right.
And he did that for a lot of people, and he helped a lot of people that also had suicidal ideation and things like that. And he was just a really good guy. So I'm thankful for my time there, and they really did the best that they could with what we had and who we had to prepare me for it. So
Right. What organization was your first fight with?
I don't think Brad really is affiliated with anyone. He's just the War Room because it's not like.
What was the like? Who was the promotion for the fight? Was it?
Shamrock.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Yep. It was Shamrock.
And how many times did you end up fighting with him? How many MMA fights did you have?
So I really don't have too many. I have 2 amateur MMA fights. One, I have 1 Golden Gloves. I have 1 boxing amateur fight, and then I have 2 pro fights. Pro MMA.
Was that with the Bellator?
One of my pro fights, my very first one was Bellator, and then my second was Shamrock.
What was fighting with Bellator like?
Oh, it was crazy. It was fun. It was a really cool experience.
Did you feel like you'd
thankful
kind of
for it.
made it to like an upper level, or was it just kind of like?
No, it was just. I mean, it was cool and exciting because of the people that were on. I was on a really big card.
Right.
Musasi was on the card. My brain isn't working right now.
Well, I remember they used to have that there was like a banner at Kirk's other gym. That,
Rampage Jackson, he was on the card.
Yeah, so that's
Wanderlei Silva.
That's pretty wild. It's
Yeah,
like, whoa,
it
I'm
was.
fighting in the same cage as these guys. So that's cool. What is like? Let's get back to jiu-jitsu a little bit. What's it like being, just like doing jiu-jitsu from a girl's perspective? Like if a girl's watching this right now and she's thinking about, a new line of maybe a hobby or exercise, can you kind of explain what that's going to be like for a girl coming into an MMA or a jiu-jitsu gym?
Yeah. I mean, male or female, the hardest part is walking into the gym for the first time. Once you do that and you're here, that it's like I said, that's the hardest part. But then as a girl, it can be more intimidating. We're a little rough around the edges here at Arnold. Some gyms are a little bit more prim and proper than us, so that might be more your style. Like we have some girls that came over from a different association, and I talk to her frequently, and we have became good friends. And she started at a gym that was much more slow tempo, much more slower pace than us, and she is pretty timid. So like, she may not have started if she came in here for the first time. You know what I mean? Because of the energy that we have, it may have been too much for her.
Right.
So just find a place that you feel comfortable at, and don't be afraid to step out of your comfort zone. And I know it's hard to, but maybe try to find a gym that does have a girls program.
Right.
It's not super common, but it's becoming way more common.
Yeah, I think it definitely is, and that's good. Because, in my opinion, I think everybody should know jiu-jitsu and be pretty decent at it because, for one, it's fun and it's effective, and just with the way how crazy this country is, and it's probably going to continue to be, it's not going to hurt to know how to defend yourself.
Yeah, absolutely.
So like with training, how often are you training currently, and what are your? Do you have like a tournament coming up, or what are some of the things that you're preparing yourself for, and how are you going about it?
So I train every day. I occasionally take a day off here and there, but mainly it's if like my last time I took a day off was right after New Year's Eve. I went up and went to a concert, one of my favorite bands up in Chicago, and I was just spent from the car ride, and I would have been of no use to anyone or myself. And really, just those days are the days that I take off, or if I'm sick. But during the day, I either get a training session in the morning, like Jiu-Jitsu, or I teach, or I go lift. So I've been lifting, and now I'm just starting to incorporate more cardio. I was like kind of trying to build some muscle. Now I'm trying to lean out for pans here in the next few weeks. That my focus will be leaning out a little bit more. And then before pans, though, I am looking to do the AJP tour this month, actually, down in Orlando. As of right now, as of right now, there's nobody in my division, but I'm hoping that somebody signs up.
Yeah, hopefully, because we went down to New Orleans, which Jesus Christ, there was a terrorist attack right where we were.
I know, 2 weeks later, literally on the same road. How crazy!
Yeah, I'm like, I watched it, and I was seeing what was going on the news, and I'm like, okay, there's the hotel that I stayed at right there.
Yeah.
And I'm like, that was like a week and a half, 2 weeks ago.
Yeah.
Nice.
I had my dog on that road.
Right. Thank God we were not there when that happened.
Yeah.
But yeah, I guess being a girl in jiu-jitsu, is it tough to find good, healthy competition in some of the smaller events? Or
Really,
any
in
event?
any event, unless it's Pans or Worlds or something like American Nationals, like the majors normally have quite a few. But even then, sometimes it's like 3 to 5 girls, which really isn't that much compared to
That's
a lot
only
of the
one or
male
two matches.
Yeah, and the male brackets, sometimes there's 45 people, like at the majors and stuff like that. But like I said, it is growing. Unfortunately for me, at purple belt is kind of, I feel like whenever it starts to die off more, like white and blue, I was competing every weekend.
Yeah.
Every weekend. And I always had matches no matter what. So purple, it starts to die off a little bit. You don't quite have as many.
And that's because there's just less purple belts,
Yeah. People don't continue. A
Right.
lot of people get their blue belt and they're done. They kind of hang
The
it up.
higher the ranking, the fewer there are because, like you said, people just kind of fall off for whatever reason. And usually that's like the threshold. People get their blue belt, then they, I guess, feel like, all right, that's the ultimate accomplishment, and then they're done.
Yeah.
I can't believe how many, when I first started training, and there was like some really good like 3-stripe white belts when I first was coming to jiu-jitsu, and they would get their blue belt, and I'm like, that dude's gonna be probably a black belt in the next few years, and then I have no clue where they are now.
Yeah, they just
I haven't seen
disappear.
them since the day they got their blue belt. It's
They
like,
just
I don't know where
disappear.
the fuck they went, but damn.
I get it, but I also like to put that much time into something and then to just not keep doing it, even if you don't compete anymore. I don't know.
Right.
And right now, I've been a purple belt for a while, but I competed for a while, and then I had a lot of struggles and some issues. So coming back onto the scene now, it's been tough for me mentally because most of the girls that I did compete against are brown, and a lot of them are black belts now. So that's tough for me.
Yeah.
But it's also motivating, and I need to not put my timeline in somebody else's life. This is my
Right.
timeline, and I'm at purple belt still for a reason. I didn't compete for a long time, so this is where I'm at.
Yeah, and I struggled with that too because I've trained for an incredibly long time, just not consistently enough to like go through the belt system, and it's kind of cool, but also kind of like hurts my feelings a little bit where I see guys that like started after me, but now they're purple belts. It's like, God damn, if I would have just stayed with it, like, and trained as hard those full 8 to 10 years that I've been doing this, like if I would have just went every day, like where I would be now. But it is what it is. I've got, multiple kids and business and everything else that I want to accomplish. But I've been training a lot lately, and
you have.
I'm happy for once.
Good.
So,
and at the end of the day, really, the color around our belt doesn't fucking matter.
No, because like there's, I've seen white belts beat purple belts, and
My
it
white
just
belts
depends
score
on.
on me all the
Yeah.
time in here, and that's what I want that to happen. Like,
Yeah.
we're all just humans trying to get better.
So next question: what do you feel like was your biggest accomplishment in the sport and in your career so far?
Probably my like hiatus leading up to getting my purple belt. I would say that's whenever I was most proud of myself. I won gi pans without getting a point scored on me.
Ooh.
And then I won no gi pans. I submitted my way through the entire competition. And then I won gi American Nationals. And then I won no gi American Nationals. And I won the open weight no gi American Nationals.
And that was all at blue belt?
It was all at blue belt. And that was the year that they did not hold the world championships because of COVID.
Oh, because of COVID. Yeah.
And Kirk had asked me, like, hey, you haven't had a point scored on you in like 8 months, literally.
Yeah, I remember when he posted like something online and it showed you were ranked number 1. Do you still have your ranking, or?
I haven't even looked because it makes me want to cry because I was number 1 in the world at white, blue, and purple, and then I just didn't compete for a long time. So you start to lose that, and they cut the points in half for IBJJF at the end of every year. And if you're not active, then you're not staying where you're at. So I don't know exactly where I'm at right now, but right now I'm way heavier than I was whenever I was in like my top shape, competitive shape. I'm like walking around at like 145-ish right now, and I was competing at like 118 to 125.
Yeah.
So where I'm competing now and getting my points, when I do compete, it doesn't go towards that same exact ranking. My overall points, yeah, but it doesn't go towards like where I was consistently competing.
Right. So for the audience that isn't super involved with like IBJJF, can you explain what PANs are? Because like that's a major tournament for jiu-jitsu.
Yeah. So the Pan American Championships, it's kind of like the prequel to Worlds. It's like not right before. It's a few months before Worlds, and Worlds obviously is like the major,
the epitome.
Yeah. The one that everybody wants to win. Everybody wants to be a world champion, right? But the Pan Ams is kind of where people go to get a feel, and
Right.
It kind
It's kind of like the first major
yeah
of the year.
Yeah, absolutely.
And if you're winning there, it's kind of expected that you're probably going to have a pretty good chance to win at Worlds.
Yep.
And it kind of solidifies if you're winning those types of tournaments. It kind of solidifies your name as like you're legit.
Yeah. Top competitor. Kind of puts you on
winning
the map.
Any tournament is cool, even like a Fuji or something small.
Yeah, those small tournaments sometimes can have some great people in them. Like local people that don't really go out and compete a lot of places, like nationally. But
they're just a gym rat, and they just come out of nowhere.
You'd be surprised.
Yeah. Your last match down in New Orleans, we drove all the way down to New Orleans, and Kirk beat his guy in about 30 seconds. And then you had your one match, and she had literally nothing to offer.
Didn't have too many answers.
Was it disappointing? Like, fuck. Are we like, I'm just going to smash the shit out of this girl?
Yes and no.
Go.
Yeah, obviously I like to have great competition. That's what I'm always looking for.
Right.
But at that time, I had kind of come off of like a really depressing week, and I've had those less and less recently. I've been able to get myself out of it, and I've been more consistent in here. So I hadn't trained a whole lot right before that. So I was actually like pretty nervous and like, well, let's see how this goes. And, I got mat time. That was the main thing. Even if she didn't really score at all on me. I got mat time. I got better. I got out of my head, and, I got to meet some cool people. So
right. No, it was a fun trip. Really fun trip. It was just, we flew in, and I'm hanging out, and I'm like expecting this, Kirk's gonna have, a big match, and then
we did too. And then
so we're like, this is the guy? Oh, okay. All right. And then we all seen what happened. But it was still a good experience. I wish I would have been able to talk to the what's that guy's name? Brandon, that runs AGF.
I think that's his name.
Yeah, Brandon Quick. He's he's got his own YouTube thing, but I didn't get time to really talk to him. We just kind of bounced out of there. But still a good trip. Yeah, well, I was fucking starving. So what are your future plans moving forward with jiu-jitsu? Like, do you have, a goal in mind that you're trying to reach before you kind of hang it up, or?
I'm not going to hang it up anytime soon. 2025 is my comeback. So last 2 years have been pretty rough, mentally, emotionally, physically, everythingly. And like I said, 2025 is the comeback, and I've been slowly working my way there, and it's been hell, but it's also, I've had some really good moments, and I have pulled myself out of some pretty dark places. So I finally am feel like I'm building back to where I was,
Right.
And I also,
it feels like a comeback.
yeah, it feels definitely. And I can't even say back to where I was, because I'm completely different than I was a few years ago. But I'd say my main goal is pans. I want to do well at pans, and then I want to get my brown belt, and then start competing at brown and see kind of how it goes from there. Maybe do some majors at brown belt after I get it.
Yeah. No, that'd be great. Fun to watch. So with do you feel like jiu-jitsu has overall been like a really good thing, had a good impact on your life?
Oh yeah. I mean, overall, it's definitely been a very positive thing for me. I think the only thing that I'd say negative.
Yeah, what's your least favorite part of jiu-jitsu? Do you have one? Maybe teaching?
Sometimes I think it's just, I actually like teaching, and the only thing that could be frustrating sometimes is like the really little kids class.
Oh,
but I also there are aspects that I love
yeah.
too. And I'm really good at it. That's one thing I'm very good at, teaching that class. That's why they still want me to do it, even though sometimes I don't want to do it. But once I'm here and I'm doing it, it's the getting here and oh, I gotta go do this. But I really do love it. But I'd say that's the hardest part. But besides that, I don't know, just staying consistent and, staying consistent. That's the key to everything, though, right?
Yeah. Yeah, I feel like there's still times whenever I come to the gym and I still have to I'll get in the parking lot and I'm nervous to go in, and I'm I've done jiu-jitsu for so long, what does it matter? But I get nervous, what if this is the time that I blow my fucking knee out and then I have to sit out for, and I just
Those thoughts will eat you alive.
Yeah, and I'm sitting out in the parking lot, just fucking go inside.
Anxiety sucks.
But, lately, I've always liked coming down here. I'm just, inconsistent. And I kind of hop back and forth between here and Rodrigo's because, I started with Rodrigo.
Yeah.
And I like his class, and it's a little bit closer to where I live. But lately, just coming down here and just the vibe, and as hard as everybody trains, I'm man, I think I'm gonna stay here and just do this full time. And I kind of want to get my belts through Kirk, and I'll be able to say, hey, I'm a Rodrigo Vaghi black belt under Kirk Huff.
Yeah.
And I've thought about it. I'm that's probably what I need to do.
Yeah, I mean, and we're all pretty supportive of all of our gyms that are under Rodrigo. That's why I love the team that I'm on, and I wouldn't, even if, say, I left here for some reason, which I've been here for this long, I don't see that happening. But even if I did, I'd stay within the association. I can't see myself training with any other association, ever.
The Vaghi Association, how lucky we are, that someone like him made it here and decided to start a jiu-jitsu school. He could have left Brazil and just said, fuck it, I'm going to be an accountant.
Yeah.
And,
or he could have just found a gym and trained selfishly for himself.
Right. Yeah. Because of him, I got to meet Renzo Gracie. I've got to meet a lot of people,
Henry Atkins actually helped to fix my bumper on my car one time, and I didn't even know that it was him.
Nice. Yeah, I mean,
I was at Vaghi's, and he ran a class there. I didn't even know because I was just a little white belt, unaware of the whole situation. Him, Mike Rogers, and Vaggie, they all helped fix the bumper on my car because I had come off that morning.
Right.
And I told Kirk, he was like, you know who that was, right? I was like, no. He was like, that was Ronda Rousey's original coach. I was like, what?
Yeah.
No way.
No, the people that you can run into, training with Vaggie and them, especially like at SC MMA, he's trained a lot of really, really high level people. Like just the other day, I seen Tyron Woodley in there, and it's hard to kind of like not fan out over it, but you got to be like, oh, fuck, I really want to go like talk to him, but then at the same time, it's like, I should probably just be over here because I'm like sitting next to Kirk. I'm like, is that Tyron Woodley? He's like, yeah, and I'm like, you're not freaking out? He's like, no, I don't really care.
No, I used to train with them all the time.
Yeah. He's like, no, I don't really care. But Kirk don't really care about a whole lot. It takes a lot to get him fired up.
He don't give a shit.
I still don't think he likes me. I think he's
everybody
warmed up to
thinks
me
that.
Because he just like, it's like,
that's just kind of. I actually had a student once that ran out to her mom's car after class. Was like, Kirk said hi to me today. She was all excited.
Right? Yeah. If Kirk says hi to you or acknowledges you, it's like, I must have done something good. But no,
or I didn't fuck it up. Either
right.
one.
But he's a really good coach, and he runs a really good like program.
Yeah. And he won't lie to you. He's not a bullshitter.
No, definitely not. So female grappling as a whole, that's like your life.
Yeah.
Do you think that grappling, especially for girls, like is that in a good place? Do you like the way the sport's headed, or do you think it needs improvement?
I think anything in life could use improvement, no matter what it is. But as far as 10, even 5 years ago, I think it's rapidly growing. It's there are more eyes on it. There are more little girls that are interested in it, that are trying it. Wrestling's a big part of that too. Wrestling becoming a bigger sport, one of the fastest growing sports for females right now. And I think that is it's one of the best bases to have for jiu-jitsu. And then once wrestling is over, it's like most athletes that wrestled their whole life, they don't just want to be done,
No.
So the next best thing is jiu-jitsu. They have a great base. It's grappling. They're on the mats. They can be
you can
working
still just
hard.
wrestle the fuck out of people.
Right. That's basically what I do.
Yeah.
I mean, my jiu-jitsu's gotten better over the years, and my guard's gotten better and everything. But I didn't pull guard until American Nationals, my last blue belt tournament.
Yeah,
as a
I don't
white and
want
blue
to pull
belt.
guard anymore. Like I do it because I'm just a terrible wrestler. But I really like wrestling. I'm like, I want to get. And I've told Kirk this, and I was talking to Justin too. I was like, I want to learn how to actually wrestle, and then because like I know how to do jiu-jitsu. I know there's submissions, but I've never been like that. Just okay, sit on my butt, and I'll let you run me over, and then I'll try to submit you from off my back.
And
That's never really worked for me because I'm not a large person.
Yeah, no, it's tough when you're small. And even whenever I do pull, I try to wrestle up.
Right.
If I do pull, I'm trying to just basically wrestle from bottom. So
if there was one thing that you could change about girls jiu-jitsu, what would it be?
Oh, that's
maybe
a tough
like
one.
a tournament structure, rule sets.
I wish more girls that did the sport would compete.
Yeah.
I think that's a big problem. I think just for example, this last St. Louis IBJJF, there were hardly any girls. There were like a few purple belts, and they were all masters. There was no adult purple belts. I know there's purple belts in the area. Okay, I know there is.
Right.
I know that there's purple belt females that do jiu-jitsu on a regular basis.
They're probably Dakota's going to be there.
Hey, I'm calling you out. I love you, but I want you to compete.
Right. Yeah,
and there were a few black belt girls that competed that are from the St. Louis area, and that's so awesome to see. And I think just getting out there and signing up for tournaments, it's going to do nothing but grow the sport. And I think, and I get money. I get it. I get money can be a problem and be a hurdle to jump over. But there are ways. Trust me, I've been broke my whole life, and I've competed as much as I have.
Yeah. And I would like to see, investment made into, whether it's IBJJF or whatever the organization is. It would be nice if outside investors could come in and find a way to, at least pay the upper belts. You know, obviously we paying a white belt doesn't really make any sense.
Right,
But,
yeah.
you know, if you got, you know, black belts and brown belts and people, even at purple belt, you can still be a professional.
Absolutely.
You put enough time in to consider yourself professional, you know.
I fought MMA professionally as a white belt.
Yeah. So, I if it was up to me, that's probably one thing that I would change, and that's not just girls MMA or jiu-jitsu. That's the sport as a whole, is to try to make sure that there's more financial incentive for some of these people who have dedicated their entire life to this.
I would definitely back that for sure. And that's part of why I want to support the AJP Tour tournaments, because they do pay.
What's AJP?
I'm not exactly sure what it stands for, but I definitely should, since I'm doing the tournament soon. But I know that they do have incentives, cash prizes, and like,
that's cool.
Say you are out there even as a purple belt and you have a really exciting, fun match, they'll just come hand you a check.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
That's
so like
cool.
It gives people incentive to go out there and look for the kill and have exciting matches that people want to watch, because that's how we're going to get the sport to grow, right? I mean, look at Gordon Bryan. He got views. He got people to watch him. He's exciting. He's fun. He's a shit talker. Like, people love that stuff, and that's what they want to watch.
Is not annoying. You know, there's some, like, I've talked to people about this, and I'm going to do a video on this on my
He
channel.
backs it up.
Where the character, you know, you see it a lot in like the UFC. You know, you have the guys that nobody really knows because they don't have a character. And then you have the guys that are known because of their character. And it's like, you know, that guy doesn't act like that all the time. But when the cameras are on, they turn into somebody else. And sometimes it works. Yeah. But then there's some people where you're like, dude, just shut the fuck up.
It's too
like,
much.
You know,
I'm like,
ugh.
I can't do it.
It works. The character works. And I get it. Like, if you're going to make money and be super well known, you got to have some sort of character. But some people just don't have it. But, you know, Gordon he's like right on that line. He knows how he's a really good competitor, and he has showmanship, and he knows how to like talk just the right amount of shit.
For most of the time, yeah. Most of the time he says it with, and the thing though about him too is he backs it up, you know?
Right, yeah.
And that's what I've always, like when I was competing at a really high level, I wasn't a shit talker, but I basically had the mindset of whoever wants it can come get it.
Right.
Because I'm that confident in myself, and not in myself, in my training. And how hard I work and what I put into this sport every single day, on and off the mats. You know, one of Kirk's favorite lines is leaving no stone left unturned.
Right.
And that's the mindset you got to have if you want to be the best.
Yeah, and I like that a lot. Just know the preparation. When I went down and interviewed Dakota Bush, that's what he was talking about.
I love his name.
Was like, Dakota Bush. Yeah, he's a really cool guy. But he was talking about, he's like, you know, I know that I've trained and I've prepared right. He's like, I don't really have any reason to be nervous. He's like, when I first started fighting, you know, I'd get nervous before the fights. And he's like, but now with the amount of training that I've done and the way I train, he's like, I know that I've done everything I can to win. Yeah. You know, so I'm not really worried about anything. And I think in his last like 3 professional fights, he hasn't even been fucking touched. Like,
yeah, that's impressive.
Pulling people to the ground and submitting them really, really fast.
And to add to that, I know for a fact that the most nervous I've ever been was when I know I didn't prepare completely like I normally do.
So you've mentioned Kirk. We train under Kirk. I guess so. He's been probably. Would you say he's like the coach that has influenced you the most throughout your career?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I've been going at it for a while now, since the end of 2017, and he has definitely been through a lot of trials and tribulations with me. He has stuck by my side and believed in me the most out of anybody in my life. Like, even when some of my best friends, some of the people I thought would be in my life forever, for the rest of my life, told him word for word, she'll never compete again. She's done. She'll just be a drug addict. She's just going to be, she's done. This is it.
Right.
Like, say goodbye, be done. And he never gave up. And I have since then competed multiple times. And I am back in the gym every single day teaching classes. And, like I said, on my way to my comeback.
Yeah, I think there was a couple of times where I came down here and you weren't here, and I was like, "Hey, where's she at?" And he's like, I don't know." He's like, "Hopefully she'll be back soon."
Yeah.
I'm like, all right. And then when we were getting ready to go to New Orleans, I was like, "Well, isn't Dakota supposed to be here training?" He's like, "I don't know where she is." I'm like, well, she's got a match tomorrow. He's like, "Man, she hasn't been here all week." I'm like,
He was so mad at me, but even through like him being mad at me, he,
right. No, you can tell that you're kind of like his protege. Like there's a good, healthy coach athlete, thing there.
I respect him a lot. I really do, and not even just like the coaching aspects, just as a friend, as a mentor, and someone, like I said, that believes in me.
Yeah, I can tell that he goes out of his way to try to help you and make sure you get better, and and that's awesome. I mean, people need that.
Yeah.
So why don't we switch it up just a little bit? What was your hang on just a second.
There you go.
I need to just put the notes on my phone, but I don't. What was your like childhood like? Where were you originally from? How did you end up here?
Good question. So I was born in Jacksonville, Florida. My dad was in the Navy. I lived there till I was about 5 or 6. And then my dad started working for a different company, and we relocated up to Wisconsin, right outside of the Twin Cities. So kind of how like Arnold is 30 minutes away from St. Louis. That's about how I was, but I was across the river, from up in Minnesota, Wisconsin area. And I lived there till I was about 12. And my dad had a really good job. We were building a house. Things were going really well for us. And I had 4 siblings. My oldest sister was pregnant. And then my dad lost his job in the early 2000s, like when the economy crashed.
Was he doing the car for? Like, was he part of the automotive industry up there, I guess?
No, he wasn't. He was an IT guy for an Israeli company. He traveled all the time. He went to Israel once a year and had offices in San Jose and Phoenix, and was really successful. However, he was the only American working for an Israeli company. So when they started to struggle, families first, especially in Israeli families, and he's the odd man out. I don't really have to say much after that. He was kind of the first one to be off the payroll. And
That's unfortunate.
Yeah. And my parents are actually from Bethalto, Illinois, about 45 minutes from here.
Yeah.
Near Alton. And that's where they went to high school, and that's where they met. They're high school sweethearts. And after that, my dad and my mom decided to move back to family just because we needed support, needed help, and we moved into my grandma's, and then we moved into a 2-bedroom apartment with me, my mom, my dad, Chelsea, Des, Erica. My mom was pregnant with Noah, and we had 3 dogs.
Damn.
Yeah.
And so you went from just outside of the Twin Cities down to Bethalto.
South Roxana.
Damn.
Then Bethalto, yeah.
Oh, okay. So you're about 12 at that point. Mm-hmm. And are your mom and dad still? Well, your mom passed away in 2016.
Yeah.
Is your dad still around?
Yes, he is.
Okay.
Yep.
You talk to him a lot, or?
Not a lot right now. We go through our phases, where I'll see my dad quite a bit. He just went to Nashville to watch me compete, which was fun. I'd say we have a good relationship, but sometimes we both need to pick up the phone a little bit more. But
right. So you're back in Bethalto around 12, 13 years old. Mm-hmm. When did you start to did you start drinking around then? Or when did you start to struggle with like drugs and stuff?
I started smoking pot when I was like 12.
So about to get back to Illinois.
Yeah, but pretty much. It makes sense, right? It all adds up. No, but, and then, oh shit. When I think about it, it sounds really bad. I did my first line of coke when I was like 15. Then I was partying, taking Molly, taking acid, just going to raves and stuff like that. However, I was still really successful in school. I had good grades. I ran track, ran cross country, like I said. I was a good kid,
Was it just kind of normal? It was like...
Oh, very normalized.
Yeah.
And like, I was friends with everyone. So I had a party friend group. I had my athletic friend group. I had my band geek friend group. I had, I had so many different friends, and I ran around with so many different crowds.
It was easy to kind of come across that stuff.
Yeah, to dabble in things and still keep my head on straight, you know. And I did that for a very long time. But I was, like I said, I'm all in or all out, right? So once I start, that night I'm going until
Is that how
comes
it
up.
is that how it always was? Like you were more of a social user, but then, you know, as time went on, it kind of became, you know, now you're on your own and you're
now I live in an apartment by myself. I can do whatever I want. So when my mom passed, she had a brain aneurysm, and I actually pretty much watched her die in front of me and my 9-year-old little sister. Well, she was 9 at the time. She'll be 18 in March.
Is that your youngest sister?
Mm-hmm. And
are you still close with the rest of the family, all the siblings and stuff? Are they still around, or did everybody kind of just...
I don't talk to my brother.
Do you just move away, or?
No, he's a piece of shit.
Oh, okay.
And I'm not afraid to tell anybody that.
Right.
No, and I still talk to my oldest sister, Chelsea. She lives in Chicago. I just saw her the other night, actually, on New Year's Eve. And then my sister Erica owns a restaurant in Edwardsville, Illinois.
Oh, okay.
And she has 2 boys, my nephew. So I still talk to most of the family. And then my little sister, I was just saying yesterday, I need to call and reach out and talk to her. But when we talk and hang out, it's always a good time. So.
And they're super supportive of what you're doing now. And
oh yeah,
you know.
Yeah. I'm sure whenever I was like super addicted to jiu-jitsu, I missed some family stuff, and we've talked about it, and they definitely wished I was around more at the time. But like I said, we've talked about things. They'd rather me be doing this than drugs.
Right. Yeah. What was what was the lowest of the low? Like when you finally were like, hey, I gotta get my act together.
So there were a few different points, right? Like I said, I was living on my own. I had an apartment, and I started drinking like every day. And I was still able to hold a job. I was able to still train and even coach wrestling over at Fox, and then coach jiu-jitsu here. And then it just got to be too much. I just freaking lost it. You know, I was waking up at 5 a.m., going to work, and then working all day, coaching, and then training, and then going home and smashing a fifth.
Damn. Yeah. So was alcohol like pretty much your drug of choice, and then it kind of was the catalyst for the other stuff?
Absolutely. I went to rehab 3 times. I went for a month the first time, a month the second time, and then I was there for 3 months the third time I went. I almost died from drinking too much. My heart rate slowed down so much that I stopped breathing.
Did you ever get in any legal trouble from drinking?
No.
Damn, how is that possible?
I'm so lucky. I did wreck a car once. I just left it on the side of the road. Did a DUI.
No big deal.
Yeah, I got pulled over when I was younger, and I had been drinking. Should have got a DUI that night. Got like so many tickets, and it was in Festus, and the Festus courthouse shut down, and all my tickets just disappeared.
Damn.
Isn't that crazy?
If only I could have been so lucky.
I know. I'm not going to be lucky though if I start drinking again.
No,
so.
definitely stay away from it. Alcohol is something that I still kind of struggle with a little bit here and there, and it's one of the big reasons why my training has been inconsistent too. Is because it
ruins everything for a few days.
I'm like, I should go train tonight. It's Friday night. I should go train, and then I'm like, nah, I'll just go to the bar.
Yeah.
I'll train tomorrow morning. I'm not getting up tomorrow morning because I'm going to be feeling like shit.
Yeah.
And I fucking hate that. But I am getting better at that. So
it's a process. Even just for casual drinkers, sometimes it's hard. Like,
yeah, and that's how I am. I'm a weekend warrior.
Yeah.
I'm not going to drink Monday or Tuesday or Wednesday, even if it was like my dad's birthday. And my dad's like my favorite person to drink with. But if it's his birthday on a Wednesday, I'm like, Dad, I'll catch up with you Saturday. You know? Yeah. Because the last time that I drank throughout the week was when I was working out of town when I was like 21. And like, we'd go out of town, we'd get a hotel room. I'd get kicked out of the hotel room the first night we were there. And then I'd be like in trouble with the company because they're like, well, there's one hotel in that town. Where are you going to stay? I'm like, I don't fucking know. So, yeah, bad deal. That's why I tried, to not drink anymore.
Yeah.
So, what is my next question for you? We've covered, all the, addictions and stuff.
Not really. We missed one.
What is that?
I got another one for you. I had met somebody that I became pretty close with out of rehab. and we were supposed to go to a meeting together. Her drug of choice was methamphetamines.
Oh.
I didn't know she had relapsed. Wait, no, I take that back. Back up. Whoop. Almost just lied. I did know she had relapsed. And something in my fucking brain had always been like, I kind of want to try meth. Why? I don't know. Because I know that's fucked up and I really don't want to. But I had always had this like weird like want to try it. Like, because I had
You can
heard,
definitely party your ass off.
right.
You know?
And I had taken Molly and I'm sure it was cut with it and stuff
Right.
like that. And I like to speed. And I had heard like people say it's like the best feeling ever. So I wanted to try it. And I knew that she had relapsed. And so like I think a part of me did
What
it
year
on
was
purpose.
this?
This was not this past September, but the September before.
So a little over a year ago.
Yeah. And so I tried it for the first time then, and I did it for about 4 months pretty heavily. I got down to like 105 pounds. I was skin and bones. And then
Where was Kirk? Was he like, hey?
fucking looking for me, calling and people that were close to me crying about, you know, I think she's going to die. Like people were really worried about me.
So it was that fast? Like you just tried it?
I tried
and
it,
it was like
and
a
then I didn't
4 or
do
5
it for a
month thing,
week.
and
yeah, I tried it, did it for a week, then I didn't do it for a week, and then I just happened to hang out with somebody that was
there it
doing it.
is.
I didn't even know. I really did not know. And then he pulled it out, and I was like, "Whoa, I didn't even know you did that." And then
Oh, yeah,
from
everybody
there, it was like, it was
Damn.
crazy. It was really, really some of the scariest moments of my life.
yeah.
I pray for those people that I was around because a lot of them are good people. They're just in a bad situation.
Yeah, and like with drugs, I never got too heavy into drugs. You know, I got some, like if it's a good ass Saturday night and I'm like drinking real heavy, I might, you know, dabble a little bit. But I've always like I've never done meth and I've never done heroin. And I would never I would never, if somebody's like, hey, you want to try fentanyl? No. And I would never put like, I had my 5, 6, like 7 of my very closest friends from high school all got addicted to heroin. Like they were putting the shit in their arm.
Oh, yeah.
And they're still
IV.
struggling with that shit today.
And a lot of those people too, I'm sure at some point, I'm not saying that it's going to happen to you, but most people that end up in those situations have sat and said, I'm never going to do that.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I mean?
Like,
it's
we
just,
used
it
to-
happens so fast.
Yeah, we used to laugh. We were like, who the fuck would do something like
Yeah.
that? And then it's like right after high school, all my friends are like, you know, smoking foilies and, you know,
Yeah.
I walk into the bathroom and they have a needle in their arm. I'm like, whoa, what the fuck?
Scary.
Like,
It can go really dark really fast.
yeah, I was like, I thought we were going out drinking, not this.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's, you know, it's all about who you hang out with, and it doesn't take long for, you know, to like fall off. You know, you just go on a, you know, an old friend hits you up and it's like, hey, let's get together and talk, and then all of a sudden, you know, you're doing what they're doing. You know, we rub off on each other like real easily. And you know,
What is today? Today's the 9th or the 10th, right?
yeah, I think
January
so.
20th is the last time I used meth of last year.
So almost a year free from that.
Yep.
That's good.
And
And
sometimes I still like want to use, like
Oh,
not
yeah.
like actually, but like my brain wants that feeling
Right.
again. And it's,
no, that'll probably always be there. I know that a lot of my friends that have, you know, recovered from addiction and stuff, they're like, yeah, you know, still, you know, sometimes want to get, you know, give it a go, but
yeah,
you just can't.
It's like sometimes I'm just like, maybe if I just did a little, I'd be fine if I'm not around somebody that I could get it from again.
right.
No.
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 But then you think about like, okay, well, you know, am I going to go to Pans? You know,
Right.
am I going to do this? Am I,
Right.
you know, then what? I'm going to go right back to how it was, you know, the last time.
Yeah.
Back to rehab. That
Probably
was fun.
worse. Yeah, no,
you
that's
know.
terrible.
But so we'll wrap it up here pretty soon. So is there anything that you like to do, you know, outside of jiu-jitsu? Like what's the day-to-day look like, you know?
So I love my dog a lot. I
Yes,
just love dogs.
dog
in
is always a
general.
practice.
Yes. I just love my dogs in general. I had a pit before Penelope named Delilah. I had her for 10 years, and my life kind of revolves around my animals. So, and I used to work at a few different dog daycare places, and that was a lot of fun. It, like shit pay, but I loved it.
Right.
I loved it a lot. And that was through kind of like when I was going in and out of rehab and my struggles. So I unfortunately kind of shit all over those jobs. But I definitely, that's something I look forward to doing in my life whenever I'm not taking jiu-jitsu so serious, is I want to rescue animals and do things like that, like to help dogs.
So you think you'll probably kind of do that once, like the competition starts to slow down. How long do you think you'll actually compete? Like, obviously you'll always be at the gym and you'll always train, but
I think well into my 30s, even 40s.
Yeah. That's kind of how I see it too. Like, I can be competitive till probably closer to 50, for me. I don't know if girls can keep up that long. Maybe. You
Girls
probably
can do
could.
anything.
Yeah. So, so rescuing animals and kind of doing that. And you're not married, don't have kids or anything.
No babies.
Do you think
Just
that
my
would
fur
ever
baby.
think you'd ever slow down and try to do something like that? Or
one day I would like to have a kid one day. I mean, I'm 28 right now. But I still got a few good years in me.
Right. Gotta get all the good competition years out there.
Yeah.
Focus on something like that. So it is possible you could get married and have a family. So if anyone out there is watching this in about 8 to 10 years, give her a call. But yeah, I mean that pretty much wraps it up for me. I mean, is there anything else that we didn't cover? We pretty much covered everything.
Yeah.
So it was a pleasure talking with you. And I was actually wanting to come down and film Pans this year and kind of showcase our team and how they do.
Yeah.
Because are you the only one
No,
competing?
we have. So I'm
Kirk's
gonna do
compete,
it.
right?
I think Kirk's gonna do it. We have another. I think
Justin will probably
3 or
compete
4
too, right?
girls
Yeah.
besides me that are gonna do it. I don't know if Justin will do it in the gi. He might do no gi pants.
Right.
But I know Jared's gonna do it. Liam might do it. We might have 10 people there.
Right.
So.
Well, stay tuned for that, guys. I'm going to be going down, and that's early March.
Yeah, I think March 20th or something like that.
Where is
around
Pans
that
at? That's
time.
in Florida, right?
It's in, Kissimmee.
So we'll be headed down, and I'm going to film Dakota, Kirk, and the rest of the crew as they compete at Pans. And, like I said, make sure to subscribe, share this video with all of your friends, and we'll see you guys in the next video.